And we're live. Welcome to my face. So, quietening that chatterbox. Quietening that chatterbox. So, looking at just getting a little bit more quiescence to that kind of chattering that can go on in our heads. So, before I jump into this, let me have a little drink. All right, we're good to go. So, this is I would say one of the most common reasons people approach me about either learning a meditation practice or wanting to know more about a meditation practice, or at the very least, just looking for some kind of guidance as to just how to get a little bit more space in their own head. And some of the common complaints or resistances to trying a meditation practice, well, there's a few actually. One of them is people find it very uncomfortable to just be still. If you're quite manic and incredibly busy in your energy, to come to a place of being still can be a challenge in itself. Second thing, people have a lot of assumptions about what should happen in a meditation session. There's this idea that you're supposed to stop your thinking. And I'd like to dispel that. Get rid of that from your head entirely, because unfortunately, if your quest or aim is to stop your thinking, you're probably going to find every time you have a sitted down session of well, it doesn't have to be sitted down, it could be anything. Anytime you come to your meditation practice, you're going to feel like you got it wrong, and that's a common reason for people to stop. The complaint of, oh, I can't stop my thinking. So what do we do about this? How do we actually go about quietening that chatterbox? So if you do jump on live, come and say a little hello. And if you're watching the replay, please be kind enough to leave a hashtag replay. So let's have a look. So for me, it's important to acknowledge, why do you actually want to quieten it? Why do you want to shut that chatterbox up? Because I've never met anyone in my life who wants that chatterbox to be quiet because it's telling them too many positive things. Okay. They never come to me, or they never come to meditation saying, oh, my thinking's just so positive. How do I stop this? That's usually not the problem. In fact, I've never encountered anyone who said that is the problem. It's usually certain patterns of thinking that are causing a problem for them, or that they want to get rid of. So it's acknowledging kind of what are the thoughts that you're kind of tussling with or looking to get rid of. And that can be quite uncomfortable to just admit, okay, there's certain patterns of thinking that I have that aren't very comfortable, that bring up all sorts of emotional responses for me. But the great thing is to realize that whether a thought is positive or whether a thought is negative, it's still just a thought. Okay, it's still just a thought. And only if we give a lot of value to a thought does it become anything more than just a thought. And this starts to reveal itself in a meditation practice, actually, that thought just happens. But what we do with it, how we are in relationship with it, that is something we can work on. That is something we can definitely do something about. So I tend to break it into 3 zones of awareness. So you can be aware of thinking, just like I like to talk about it as a radio playing in the background. We can be aware of that radio playing in the background, can't we? We can put all of our attention on that radio playing in the background. We can find that what's being played on the radio is dominating our experience. Or we can bring our attention away from it. So we've got those 2 other zones. We've got our sensory experience, what's happening around us. And then we've got what's called somatic, so what we're feeling within the body. So you don't necessarily have to sit in a meditation practice, although I'm a big advocate for it. Sometimes all that's necessary is to bring your attention to something else. Because although thought is happening, thought is there, you've also got those other zones that I just mentioned that you can just bring your attention to. Thought is only a problem if you keep all of your attention on it and if you let it dominate everything that's happening around you. So sometimes all that's necessary is just a gentle shift of your attention away from the radio that's playing. So let's say we're in the scenario where we are actually exploring the meditation practice. One of the first things I would try to get anyone to understand is there's no such thing as a bad meditation. Okay, your meditation practice isn't the space to start judging what appears for you. What's going to happen is you're going to notice your thinking. And a very useful response to that is, so what? So what thought is happening? Because if you can grasp that, if you can recognize, okay, so what thought is happening, then you can start to move a little bit deeper. Thought is happening, but do I have to put so much attention on it? It's only when we start to let our attention be really absorbed in the thoughts that the problems start to appear. One of the, let's say, slightly more challenging things is there's usually thoughts we do like and thoughts that we don't like. Are we able to kind of not give any value to thought? That's where we're trying to move to in our meditation practice, to recognize that, okay, thought is there, but I don't have to be giving any real attention to it. So let's say you are looking at exploring a meditation practice. What route do we go down? Do we follow guided meditations? Do we purchase an app? Do we listen to recordings? There's all sorts of different ways you can go about it. And for me, the technique itself isn't overly important. What is important is the guidance along the way. Because when you sit in your meditation practice, one of the first things that happens is you become aware of just how noisy it is in there. And that can be uncomfortable for people, and that can be a reason to sort of ease back or pull away from it. Another thing that can start to happen is once you start to see the patterns of your own thinking, it's very hard to extract yourself from them by yourself because you're in them. And that's where the guidance comes in. The next part, once the thoughts are no longer a problem, we've got the sensations in the body, the sort of tightness, the discomfort. And sometimes that is something people don't know how to relax into. So for me, I would say it doesn't really matter which route you go down with integrating or exploring a meditation practice. But what is important is the guidance you receive along the way, because it's very easy to just get stuck in your own loops, and then you're kind of going round in the same pattern. So someone to speak to about your experience in meditation really helps you to just take things a little bit deeper. The problem that people find with that is it requires that you actually open up and share what your experience is in meditation. So usually what we're dealing with there is the stuff that we don't necessarily vocalize. For me, this is where you could say the rubber meets the road. So no longer is your meditation practice just about you on your own in a room. You're actually exploring that stuff in real time in conversations with other people. And that's when all of a sudden life starts to become more of the teacher as opposed to just the meditation practice itself. So quietening the chatterbox, it's simply a case shifting, just a gentle shift of attention away from that noise, as opposed to fighting against it. We're on Friday, aren't we? So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch up with you next week.